Hi everyone, this is Diane. I'm starting on a new journal project, and this is using the journal kit that Jackie from Rockwell Design on Etsy gave to me with no expectations, but I told her I would do a journal, a project with it to show it to you. I got these a while ago, and I already did another project for her. Remember the one with the flowers and the glassware, and I made it with the file folder cover, the press board cover with the metal tab. That was a really fun kit to work with, and I'm sure this is going to be a fun one to work with also. This is called Vintage Tailored Ladies, and it features ladies in these tailored coats from the 1940s, it looks like. And there are flowers on it. And the colors are purple, red, green, and then of course the colors of the coat. These are muted to let the ladies shine, but then this one is just flowers, so it's very bright and beautiful. And there are background pages. This one has the black border, which looks like a lovely formal invitation border to me. And then there's one without the border. So these are really nice pages. I believe there are 8 pages. This one has a music background. This one has the ladies all over it, but it's muted so that you can journal on that. And then there are ephemera pieces that come with it. I cut out some flowers, some purple and red flowers. There's one more of each. There's 3 purple and 3 red, but I already have them on a design journal or cover design that I'm working on. And there are lots of labels, both plain and with the muted flowers, so I can make embellishments with these labels. And there are little tags that all have a word, a full word: joyful, beautiful, graceful, etc. Seven. Wonder if there's 8 of them, and I just misplaced one, but there's at least 7. And then we have these longer cards with just the ladies and no words, but they have that pretty border. And then this is really fun, a tall card with some lines. And there are 3 of those. So there's quite a bit to work with. And I thought that I would do a series kind of talking about my thought process in designing a journal. How I decide what kinds of elements, what kind of style to give it. I get comments quite often about my attention to detail. And I think it's just because I have an idea in my head of how the journal needs to look, and so any element that I add to it needs to go along with that idea. But I need to also be flexible and free to add something different if I want to, because sometimes that just adds a little unexpected interest. So I just want to talk about my thought process. So it depends on what my starting point is. Sometimes I start with a journal kit, a digital kit like I'm doing today. Sometimes it's a paper pad, so it would be based on the paper, basically, for any of those, the digitals or a pad of paper, designer paper. Sometimes it is a cover that I am starting with as my inspiration point, and that determines the feel of the journal. And sometimes it's a theme. So I just have a theme, and I have all these elements to go with a theme, and I need to come up with a cover to go with it and develop a look and a feel to the journal. And sometimes it's a piece of fabric. So there's all different things that can start your journal process, your inspiration, your starting point. So in this case, we are just going to talk about my inspiration being this journal kit. So as I mentioned, the colors, of course, are an important point to consider. We have the reds and the greens and the purples. And there are blacks because of the coats. There's some music paper back there. If I wanted to add some music elements, it would help tie that in. I could add music elements even if that wasn't there. You know, I'm just looking at the papers to see what is there to inspire me. There are some stripes. There's this marbled effect too. This double border. And the name of the journal kit is Vintage Tailored Ladies. So tailored is a key to me on how I will develop this theme. So tailored to me means sleek and crisp, not ruffly and frilly, not a lot of curves, although some curves, you know, even a tailored coat on a woman is going to have curves because a woman has curves. So you can see the rounded shoulders, you can see the feather in her hat, the curls on her hair, you know, it's still feminine, and the flowers add a feminine touch also. So it's not a masculine tailored, it's a feminine tailored. So I am not going to use coffee dye paper, and I'm not going to use frilly lace. I will try to find something that I can put on the edges of the papers. Hopefully it can be more like a flat lace that isn't too frilly, I guess, is what I want to say. So that's the idea that I have in my head of how I want the elements and the images to work together. But the flowers definitely add a floral feminine touch, so I can work with that too. So here's what I've been thinking. I have some dies that cut pockets like that. So some of them are fancier. I just went with a simple curve, and then this. This is definitely a tailored look. That could be a pocket on a tailored coat. I love it. So I cut some out in purple and red for now. I got out some slides. I thought I might use some slides. Perhaps, you know, there was a picture taken of this woman in her new coat. It could be for a fashion house, or it could be for the family photo album. So I might play with some of them. Not sure yet. Paper selection has to do more than the colors. So I mentioned the red, the purple, the green, and black. But it also has to do with the tailored, crisp, clean look that I want. So nothing too floral. If I had found something that would go with these flowers, I might have pulled that out. But you will see there is a floral in here that's really not the same style of floral, but the colors match. And to me, to my eye, if I decide to add it in, I think it'll look great. So, you know, you have to also just go along with what your eye likes. So if that makes it confusing, I'm sorry, but that's just how I work. So the papers I selected to choose from, I don't know which ones are going in the journal, but these are ones that I can choose from. This is a tiny polka dot on a lavender background, which goes really nicely with, I'm going to get a page that has all the colors in it. It goes nicely with that. This looks like a floral, right? It is. It's a tiny little floral, but I think of this as a blouse pattern, a blouse print that would go with the suit. It's a small enough, almost like a foulard print. And it's got the right colors. So I really like that to add some femininity. This is a pretty print that could also be a blouse print. There's some green dots. Pale green. This is the floral I mentioned. So if I decide to use this, I think it would be fine. Then we have the more tailored, what you think of as suit papers. suit prints. So there's like a pinstripe in red. There's a darker purple dot, which would probably be a blouse, and a stripe. I pulled this ledger paper. It's a scrapbook paper, but it's ledger. And this kind of I guess it's a snake skin or reptile red. I don't really care for animal patterns, but it's very, very, very subtle, and I didn't have very many red that would go with this look. And then this stripe. So I pulled 2 of those reptile prints because like I said, I don't have a lot of red. And this is a gray dot, which I thought was nice. This could be a blouse also, giving it a little more of a feminine look. And another stripe. And another pinstripe. So I do have lots to choose from here as far as pages go, in addition to the digital pages. And then I will add maybe some lined paper or ledger paper or something. Instead of coffee dyed paper, I'll have to add something else that's more plain that you can write on. You can also write on the backs of these and on the backs of these, so no problem with writing space. I got into my collection of vintage fashion images. Some are from catalogs, magazines, and even sewing pattern catalogs. So I went through them and pulled out things that I thought looked tailored. So I have a lot here. So obviously I won't use them all. So I just started cutting some of them out last night. Look at that red suit, pinstripe suit. This one definitely has to go in there. And I did put in some fancy dresses because even a lady that wears tailored suits wants to dress up fancy for some events. So I do have a couple of those. They still look very fitted and tailored. Look at how fancy that is. So I don't know if they'll go in, but I hope they will. I'm not going to show you all of them, but look at this one. I had to put this one in because it's the slip, it's the garment that goes under the tailored suit, and there's a little blurb that goes with it. It's in here somewhere. Oh, here it is. This is part of the slip, the black part. Before a spring suit comes the perfect suit slip, white above the waist to underscore your dainty blouse, black below, in silhouette smooth, wrinkle-free Celanese jersey, of course. Perfect, right? So, although the illustrations of the journal kit are coats, I'm going with suits because I had a lot of suits. And then I pulled some shoe images from a Spiegel catalog from 1968, I think. These are the kind of shoes that you would wear with a suit. Very pretty shoes. They don't even look outdated. They look like something people would wear today. Isn't that a nice picture? That could go on a pocket or something. So I have lots to play with, and there's more in here. And I'm thinking I have some pages in here I can actually just put in as a page also, like this one, which has her on the back. So it goes from day to night. And I know I have, oh, they're here. This one. And maybe this one. This is on kind of a newsprint type of paper. I received this in a Happy Mail, and it is in French. So, plenty to work with. I hope my explanation of how I determine my papers and elements to go with the theme, that's the idea that's in my head. And you know, sometimes when I'm working, while I'm creating, that idea shifts and changes and something else is added to kind of change the feel. So I don't always stick with it. I usually do. I just want to show you some examples of some papers that I disregarded because this one is black and white, so it would go well, but it's got all of these curly cues on it. So to me, this is not a sleek and tailored design. It looks like a nice crisp image, the nice black on the white, but the curly cues threw me off. And then this has a lot of patterns in it that would work, but it's called Tattered and Worn, and so they all look grungy. So any pattern in here and color that might have worked doesn't, because it's too grungy for the idea that I have in mind. So just I showed you the pieces I chose, so I wanted to show you some that I rejected. Now let's talk about the cover. I did not have a cover to go, I'm going off the digital kit and not a cover, so I had to choose a cover to go with it. So I have this red book. It's just a plain red book cover, and I like that color with the kit, and it's a little bigger than the kit, but I can cut the scrapbook papers to fit the cover, and then these will just be a little smaller. There's not much space around it, and I like to have space around it, but not usually that much. So I'm going to do a collage on here. I was selecting between a couple of different images of ladies to put on there. See if I can still find them, because I just messed everything up. I think I'm going to go with this lady anyway. Yeah, I don't know. They got buried, I guess. Oh, here they are. Oops. Well, I tore her feather off. This is an illustration from a story, so I was thinking about her. But I like this one because she's slender and doesn't take up so much space. And then I had this from a pattern catalog, which I thought was cute. But I decided to go with her. The images on the digital kit are from the 40s. So I could go with strictly 40s images, or I could go with tailored dresses and suits from various periods, which I decided to do. I don't want to zoom in so much that the camera makes noise. I probably just put it right back where it was. So this is a dress, but it's very fitted and classic and classy. And because of her slenderness, she just adds a nice element, and the black and a contrast to all the colors here. So I like her on it. And these are flowers from the digital kit. This is one of the labels from the digital kit, and I cut this with my Big Shot. Decided to maybe use that behind it. And then I just wanted to use something fun behind her. So the business suits, the tailored suits could be for a secretary back in the day, in the 40s or 50s, and so I thought this was fun, and I like the color. So I'm going to Mod Podge those onto this. Don't know if I'll do it in this video. There is a lot of white area on here, and I'm not grunging things up and what do you call it? Vintage photoing. Distressing. I'm not distressing stuff, but I am going to, tone down some of that white. Let me see which one I want to use. This one. I'm making cinnamon rolls today. I have them raising in the oven. Taking some to the coffee shop and keeping some. I love cinnamon rolls, but I don't make them very often because they're they take a while because you have to wait for the dough to raise, and then after you get them put together, you have to wait for the rolls to raise. But they are worth the effort. So that looks better. I like that. And I just need to trim a little more around her heel. I didn't want to trim it too much and make it too fragile until I was ready to use it. Sorry about my tablet making noises. I don't know whose. It might be Pinterest notifications, which I usually just ignore. Or it might be Facebook notifications, but I'll check that out later. But I apologize for that distraction. I'm going to arrange this and then take a picture so I can try to have things just the way I want them when I actually glue them down. I want some of those leaves showing. I like having a little bit of the flowers overlapping her on her instead of under her. It's a little tricky to do that with the Mod Podge, to do some under and some over her, but I'll try to make it work. Some of this will be covered with a piece of fabric here on the spine, just a corner of this, maybe not the flower, or maybe just a tip of that leaf, I don't know. Alright, I have to go get my phone so I can take a picture. I left that in the next room. So maybe when I start another journal project that is inspired by the cover itself or by a fabric or something, I can do another thought process video. I think I'm gonna, no, I was gonna say I'm gonna leave it here for today, but I think I can leave the rolls rising just a little bit longer, because I want to think about what I can do with some of these images. There are journal cards there, but I want to use some of these journal cards with the digital kit is what I meant. I like these, but I don't know if I'll use them because there's no blue in the kit at all. So I think I'll save them for something else. I definitely want to use her. So how about an alterations tag? If I still have alterations tags, that would be fun, because tailored suits need to be altered to fit the wearer. Got repair tags. And I have plain tags and inventory tags. I don't think I have any alterations tags left. What's this? Okay, I think those are alterations tags, but they're small. This book is going to be a little bit on the large side. Is a repair tag too tall? Maybe not. I think that's a little too big. Okay, well, we can just use regular old tag. I definitely want to have this on here. It has the item number. The classic suit cut on slimming lines is a good buy the year round. This pattern is right for small figures, but it will do wonders for the woman who wears size 18 and up. Pad the shoulders well and set in the sleeves carefully for a professional look. Good pressing counts. Maybe I'll use some sewing pattern tissue behind her, in which case I'd have to go get it out of the other room. So I'm not going to do that right now. I want to see how much scrap I will have once I cut my paper to size. I made a little note here somewhere of what size I want to cut my papers. And then I buried my note. I think it was 5 1/4. Here it is. 5 1/4 by 8 1/2. So 5 1/4 doubled is 10 1/2. So there won't be much this way. 10 1/2 inches. And 8 1/2 tall. So I get this much left over from each paper that I cut. So I can play around with those pieces. I think I would also like to use the envelopes with the big flaps. Yeah, that's a pretty good size. I could have made it a little wider, but I think that's good. And then I have these that fit on nicely. Because of the notches on the dies, the notches are marked at 4 1/4, and I don't know what the other measurements are. The next one was too wide, so I went with 4 1/4 because that's using the notches on those is the easiest way to have these even. So that'll be a striking pocket, wouldn't it? Let's see if I have something to go on there. Maybe a pair of shoes. Maybe. I have some images from the 30s. I like it better with just the image of the shoe. So my next step would be, now that I have my pages selected, my papers, well, I need to select whatever plain paper I'm going to put in there. It could be parchment paper, which would kind of go along with this very light marbly look. Maybe I'll do some parchment paper and maybe some lined paper also. And then once I have those papers selected, I can go ahead and cut them all to size, collate them together. I don't know if I'm going to... I'll probably do some stenciling and maybe some stamping. I'm sure I have some stamps of ladies in tailored clothing, I think. Or, you know, just a border stamp or something. So I'll do something on the white pages before I collate everything together. So I do have some work to do on pages, and then I can start making some tags and pockets and things. So I think that's it for today. I just wanted to give you an idea of the project and my ideas for it and where I'm going with it. And I hope that you will want to come along and see the result. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a creative day today. Bye-bye.